What's up everyone, welcome back to another video. We are in that weird limbo time between Christmas and New Year's where nothing really exists and nothing actually happens. But we do have the giveaway cruiser back here now. So it's in our possession, we've got it back to the workshop. It's time to start showing you guys around it. I'll give you a closer look exactly what the car is, what you're potentially going to be taking home, and we'll go through exactly sort of the plans of moving forward with what we're going to actually do to it. So, booyah. Big honest 80 bus. We'll start with the obvious stuff, the stuff that you already know. So it is a 1990, so a very early 80 series, one of the first as far as I'm aware. HZJ80, so 1HZ factory aspirated, 1HZ manual, full-time four-wheel drive. As you can see, it's GXL, so we've got not the barn doors, they're the nicer rear doors that seal a bit better. So it's GXL. As you can see, it is currently filthy. That's one of the first things that really need to be done with this thing, is a really good, deep, clean, deep tidy up. But for the most part, it is just an honest old rig, really honest old 80 series. So it's fairly decked out with accessories. We've got a what I believe is a TJM alloy roof basket with a King's awning off the side. We've got ourselves awesome grandpa spec sun visor on the front. That really completes this thing as well. We've got ourselves just a snorkel, looks like a safari snorkel, nothing special, just a snorkel. It is got lift in it, not sure exactly how much, but it has been done right. We've got caster correction and all the rest to go with it. It does drive really nice considering how big it is. It's a bit bigger than I was expecting it to be, but you know, it does drive really nicely. So it's obviously the pre-facelift model, so we've got the old style dash, the same as in our V80, which I personally actually like a little bit better. GXL, so we've got the center console with a cup holder, just one cup holder. So you can see down there, we do already have a UHF. We've already got a head unit and speakers. There's also a slimline sub underneath the passenger seat, so you know, you do get to crank your Nickelback super loud if you like. Moving up the front, as you can see, nice big steel bar. We've got some King's LED spotties. We've also got a winch equipped as well. So as you can see, it's pretty well set up. We've also got the LED 80 series headlight upgrade as well. Bonnet protector, all the cool stuff. As you can see, like I said, does need a bit of a tidy up, needs some attention, which we already knew, but that's why it's here. Righto guys, so under the bonnet here is about where all the best bits are. So you would have probably recognized this car. It has been on the channel before. We actually turboed this for our mate Jake about 2 years ago. So when he purchased this car, which was about 4 years ago now, completely grandpa spec, completely stock aspirated 1HZ diesel Land Cruiser. So that's why he bought it, is when he bought it, it was full grandpa spec. It was very clean. It still is very clean. And it was a really good base for him to start off with. So we actually fitted just a cheap turbo to this thing, pretty cheap turbo setup. At that time it was just hot piped, there was none of this intercooler piping, and it does have a complete 3-inch exhaust. So we tuned it at that time very conservatively, about 110 horsepower, which was more than happy to sit at. Since then Jake's added this intercooler, so we actually have now a front mount intercooler on this thing, and there's been an array of other things going on with this car over the last 12 months as well. So you can see our intercooler mounted down there, so we are complete intercooled turbo diesel going on in here. But that's not all, there's more. So in the last 6 months, this has had a complete recondition of the head. So the head's been pulled, it's been completely reconditioned, it's all fresh. We've got all fresh glow plugs, as you can see in there, a lot of fresh stuff going on. So fresh head, fresh timing obviously when the head went all back together, and most importantly, we've got ourselves a fresh 105 series boost compensated pump. So this is just a factory 105 series pump. The difference between the 105 series HZJ pump and the 80 series HZJ pump is that the 105, even though they were aspirated, came with a boost compensated pump, which is obviously a huge advantage once you've boosted it. So after we tuned it, we just tuned it with the 80 series pump. This new pump and everything has all happened since we turboed it and tuned it last. So not only that, there's a little electric lift pump to keep the mechanical pump fed now as well. So all of the precautionary measures, all of the things that you would want to do to a 1HZ 80 series, as you can see, we've already got here. We've got ourselves a boost compensated 105 series pump, intercool, turbo diesel, 3-inch exhaust. The thing goes awesome. It sounds absolutely wicked. I must say I have very much enjoyed driving this around the past few days. So before we got it, the bloke we got it from, my mate Jake, he sort of had thought that maybe there was something up with the turbo, like it wasn't performing properly. After driving it around, I'm convinced there's nothing wrong with the turbo. It seems to be working fine. The boost gauge is not working. I'm assuming that is just a kink in the line or a split in the line somewhere. But I think all it needs is a decent tune. It obviously hasn't had a tune since it got the new pump on it. And I just reckon that there's not enough fuel going in, because looking at the EGTs are happy, they're safe as, and I don't think that they would be that happy if there was no boost. And it goes pretty well, makes all the right noises, but it will be going a lot better. So I don't reckon there's anything wrong with this turbo at all. I reckon it just needs a good tune with this pump, which is something that we will obviously get to. But yeah, this thing sounds awesome. I've been loving driving it around. It's been great. So another thing you'll notice under here is our dual battery setup. So full dual battery setup. The battery tray for the second battery is actually an old battery tray out of V80. So V80 used to have the twin battery trays. And then obviously when we twin turboed it, we had to relocate the batteries to the boot and pull the battery trays out. So Jake snagged one of the battery trays off us so he could set up his dual battery setup, which is awesome. So we've got dual batteries there, and then if you come here to the back of the car, along with the dual batteries, we've also got some extra 12-volt outlets and a Anderson plug. So, you know, you can plug in your solar or anything else you want to plug in. You know, it's a pretty well sorted setup for anyone who wants to aim it towards touring. You know, the beginning of the setup is already well and truly here. So the new pump, new head, new timing and all that was actually performed by Nambour Automotive Services. They're in Nambour. It's only been turboed for about the last 2 years of its life. Before that, it was completely grandpa spec aspirated 1HZ. So it does have quite a few Ks. We are up at 475,000 Ks now, but as you can see, fresh head, fresh pump, all of the important things. Not only that, but when the head and the pump and the timing was done, there was a brand new heavy duty clutch installed as well. So we've got a brand new heavy duty clutch. So, you know, these things will go forever if they're looked after properly. And as you can see, this thing has been very well looked after. Anyway, this all being said, there is obviously some stuff that we're going to have to sort out and fix and do and modify. Things I want to make content on and things. So we'll start going through all the stuff that we plan on doing to the car before it actually goes to its new owner. So I guess most obvious, we'll start with this. So there were a few things that were sort of just thrown together when the head and stuff was all done. As you can see, the engine bay is very untidy. A lot of the wiring is pretty untidy. It needs a good tidy up. So the lift pump, the electric lift pump, for some reason was wired to accessories. I have no idea why, but that needs to be changed so that it's wired to key on, not accessories. So we'll change that wiring. We'll tidy all this stuff up. The spotlights were working, they're not anymore, so they need to be tidied up, fixed. You know, there's some gauges inside that need to be reconnected. The heater core under the dash is leaking, so when the head went back on, they just looped and shut off the heater core and then looped the coolant passages in the block. So that needs to be fixed. We need to fix the heater core and get that all working as it should be from factory. All of this intercooler piping is going to get tidied up. Nothing particularly wrong with it, just you know, all of these joins, all this silicon is not particularly necessary. Obviously we have the means and the know-how and the tools to tidy this up really well and build some much nicer intercooler piping. So that's the plan, that's what we're going to do. I may even put an aftermarket airbox on it. Not sure yet, we'll wait and see. But this is going to be our main focus of tidy up, is just really tidying up this engine bay properly, getting all this the wiring and stuff sorted out properly and fixing the stuff that's not working at the moment. So moving to inside the car, this is going to be basically the next most important thing. So you can see here we've got a water temp gauge, SAS, that's not hooked up anymore. With the new rad hoses and stuff, that never got hooked back up. So we'll find somewhere to actually put that sensor, maybe in the thermostat housing or something, so that that works. We've got our EGT and boost. EGT is working, boost is not, so we need to figure out why that's not working and fix that. Apart from that, inside here just needs a very, very good tidy up. So all of the seats are pretty cooked. It is a 30-year-old car. It is, you know, pretty standard. Our 80 series seats are all cooked, so I'm going to try and find a full set of GXL 80 series seats, including the back seats. The back seats aren't too crash hot either. The actual seat face is okay, but if you can see from the back of these that they're getting a bit ratty and tatty, and they need new seats. Now the carpet, I'm going to wait and see how it cleans up with a good cleanup and a good shampoo. But you can buy, obviously the great thing about 80 series being so popular and being so much aftermarket support is you can just buy complete molded carpets. So if the carpet doesn't clean up, we'll just buy a whole new carpet and put all new carpet in it. The rear window motors need replacing. Fronts are working, rears are not. So we need to replace the rear window motors, but you know, just a general, very good tidy up, good clean up. Much like I did with the Patrol, we'll pull everything out right back to the body and do a complete clean up as it all goes back in. And if we have to get new carpet, we'll get new carpet. It needs a new passenger side front seat belt. You know, just general wear and tear things. It is a 30-year-old car. There are some things that need just a little bit of seeing to before it goes to its new owner. But you know, for the most part, the best thing about it is the body is really quite nice. We've got nice paint. There's no clear coat peel or anything like that. So, you know, that's all really nice. I would like to try and get some side steps or sliders to put on it before it goes as well. We do have 5 of these 80 series Jelly Bean wheels, which are very sought after. They're rock solid, they're tough as nails, they're really hard to break. And then there will obviously be just general mechanical look over. We'll check over all the brakes and everything else. And obviously this thing will get a retune with that 105 pump on it. Now, we'll wait and see how it goes on the retune with this turbo, but I'm not convinced there's anything wrong with this turbo at all, and I'm going to be pretty happy to leave it on there, provided that it is working fine. Obviously, if we do find some issues with the tune and it's not doing what we expect it to do, well then we'll look at replacing the turbo if it comes to that, but I'm pretty certain it's going to be fine. But anyway, that's more or less the big girl, guys. Like I said, most of it's just going to be aimed around tidying up that engine bay, tidying up inside, and just getting everything working the way it should be. Get that heater core working, get the AC working properly. I noticed it's not quite as cold as it should be, not quite as cold as our 80 series, so we'll investigate that, get the rear windows working properly, replace all the seats with something nice, and you'll have yourself a pretty good base to start whatever you want to do with it, whether you want to set it up as a tow rig or a tourer. As you can see, it's already pretty sorted, ready to go. Alright guys, we'll just go for a bit of a drive, see if you can hear the thing. Ooh. Hopefully we'll be able to hear it alright. I did want to go for a bit of a drive, miking up everything, or miking up the engine bay and stuff. I might still do that later on, but for now, quick drive. This thing does sound sick. I love how much the old 1HZ's just such a truck. Great. Not gonna lie, it does really make me want to do a diesel. So I actually really wanted to go for a 4-wheel drive. I know there are some pretty good tracks in our local forestry and stuff out here, but I don't know my way around, and obviously I'm on my own because Rex is having a terrible time up at Fraser Island for New Year's, so I don't want to go get myself lost somewhere where I don't know where I'm about. So we'll have to wait until we've either got someone else to go with or someone who knows their way around before we can go do that. But definitely we'll be taking this thing out for a bit of a 4B before it goes. Although it's not something we've been doing much of over the past few years, it is something that we were always really into. You know, back in the day, we used to live just up the road from Glasshouse Mountains, so we used to always be 4-wheel driving all the time. All right, see if you can hear it from where you are. Makes all the right noises though. Righto guys, so I didn't quite like how that came out. You couldn't hear it properly. I've tried now to mic up the engine bay, so we'll see how this goes. I don't know if this is going to work. I've never actually used this mic setup on this camera, so we'll go for a quick drive and see though, because it didn't do it justice. Obviously you'll be able to hear it much better and much nicer when we finally get it on the dyno again. So you get a lot of good noise from those videos, but I just really want you to hear what it sounds like on the road. Alright, let's try again. bay. I think it would probably obviously sound quite a bit better from the actual exhaust instead of in the bay, but couldn't really see any easy way to mic up that far back in the car. So again, you'll get that when we get to the dyno and when we make some more content out forward driving and stuff. Hopefully this comes through a bit better than the last one did. Honestly quite surprising how well it goes for what it is. If I had another person, you know, if Rex wasn't away, I'd chuck the draggy in it just to see. I'm just curious to see what like times are gonna be. I really wish I'd gotten some draggy data in the GU before I went, just for comparison and stuff. But yeah, I don't know why, big diesel 80, driving this thing around just with a smile on my face. I like it. This thing with all the caster correction and everything done right, it drives really well, tracks really well. So it's quite nice. Really quite nice. Old jigger. So there will be more merch coming, guys. Like I said, there's going to be a few more releases of merch coming, and what I will do is the way that the entry setup is working and the way that your multiplication happens with how much you spend, that's just going to apply for any of the orders you make. So if you've already bought merch and you want to buy more, the cost of your first order will just be added to the cost of your second order, and you'll get whatever the multiplication are of your entries based on how much you've bought essentially over the entire period that the giveaway is running, not just for each order. So if you want to buy more merch, still going to keep compounding your entries. But yeah, that's a little drive in the old jigger. Like I said, makes all the right noises, does all the right things. I really enjoy driving it around. So there you go, guys. That's your first decent look at the giveaway rig. Like I said, you're going to be seeing a lot more of it from here on out on the channel while we start working on getting it sorted out. But you can see in its entirety exactly what it is, exactly what you're gunning to win. And I certainly would be freaking stoked to win it for potentially $10. Hey, what a time that'd be. Anyway, guys, head to the shop, check out the merch, get your entries in, subscribe, hit the little bell notification so you don't miss anything, and we'll be seeing this car a lot more in the weeks to come. Thanks for watching, guys. As always, we'll see you on the next one. Peace out, see you, bye.